What's up? How are you dealing with all the love of the trailer? You're getting second season trailers out. Everyone's loving it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, we weren't sure I mean, as usual, you don't know. That's the first thing
Yeah,
that comes out, right? The
of
trailer.
course.
So we were hoping that people like it and they're loving it. And anyway, like a lot of people have been asking us to kind of prepone the release and to
Yeah,
do it, yeah, during the lockdown. But that's unfortunately we can't.
yeah,
Because like Amazon has a plan in mind and all of that. So
I know.
yeah, due to those reasons.
People have been waiting for a year, more than a year, for the second season, and it's finally coming out. And the
Yeah.
first one did so well. It was the first series of Amazon Prime. Did you expect that much love?
Honestly, no. I didn't realize the way, like especially with Siddhi, what I didn't realize was the way people would, the way they've related to the character. Because I
Yeah,
was seeing Siddhi in like one or two unilateral, I mean, just like in one uh, tone.
yeah,
But people actually, the way they related to it and it resonated with them, I realized that people are connecting to Siddhi in far too many different ways than
yeah,
I had thought.
true.
So yeah,
And what
Golu's here. Hi, Golu. Sorry.
No problem. What different characteristic will we see in Siddhi? I saw the second season's trailer, and of course, we are seeing a difference. But how different is it from the first one?
So, in first season, Siddhi kind of just like she realizes that because there's her mother is a huge part in her life, right? And
Yeah,
she's trained her, she's brought her up in a way that like to for her to believe that her life has a certain path that
yeah,
she's gonna get married if she's in school, college, then thoda sa kaam karke she'll get married, and that's a path that she has accept it about
yeah,
herself. Like she's
yeah,
also begun to believe that okay, this is something that that my life is going to be like,
yeah,
and she's okay with that. So in season one, she kind of realizes that okay, maybe there is more to life than just something that other people plan for you. And in season two, you see her kind of exploring that option.
yeah,
She tries to find different things to do personally and professionally. She's exploring herself. She's on a journey of self discovery, like most of us are
yeah.
in the like today's times. And yeah, so and she tries different things. She fails at some, she succeeds at some, and then she kind of stabilizes somewhere towards the second half of the show.
Okay. And you started this year with a bang. You started with Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan. It received so much love and appreciation,
Yeah.
and it was one of a kind film, and you were a part of it. Like you were great in it. So what do you
Thank
want to
you.
say about that? Welcome. So I think everyone's asking about that film. You were there in Ujra Chaman, and then now four more shots. So it's like one after the other.
Hi, Percy. Oh, yeah. So, Shubmangal, honestly, again, a lot of people love Goggle and have written to me, have written to Hitesh. And in general, what I was very happy about was the fact that people picked up on so many things that I didn't think they would pick up on.
Yeah,
Like a lot of like a lot of her dialogues and lines
yeah,
against
yeah, yeah.
patriarchy,
I know.
a lot of her lines against toxic masculinity and things like that, which I was very, very pleasantly surprised by. With Ujra Chaman also, when I saw the film, I loved it. I thought it's a really sweet film, and people also kind of related to it, and they liked the humor and they liked the message, and yeah, like they just kind of like I really like they saw it for what it was,
Yeah.
rather than what they thought it would be, and that's a great thing. Like for people to just watch a film or a series for what it is, and then judge it on the basis of that.
Okay. And talking about FOMO shots, I recently interviewed Shayoni, and she was
Huh.
saying that if one thing she would want to learn from you, from Manvi, that would be that you're very hardworking and you learn things very quickly, like that. So, what do you have to say on that? And also, if I ask you, what's that one thing that the show has taught you?
The show. Okay, so I'll start with what the show has taught me. Um, Actually, like there's a there's a like we pick up parts of the characters that we play. So while we also give ourselves to the characters, there's also a part that stays with us. So I remember that like it just like when I started with season 1, I remember, hey Shai,
Yeah, she's here.
so yeah. So I remember I was really conscious of wearing short clothes,
Okay.
like short dresses or shorts or something, because I was really conscious of my legs. And season 1 onwards, and season 1, that's all Siddhi has worn. She's only worn short dresses. And I
Yeah.
remember after that, Anu, the director of our first season, she looked at me. We met one day after the show and stuff after
Yeah.
we finished shooting, and she said, "You realize, Manvi, you started dressing up like Siddhi." And I was like, oh yeah,
Oh.
and I realized that yeah, it is something, and it wasn't a conscious thing. It happened very
Yeah.
subconsciously that I just started wearing a lot of short clothes, and I was no longer conscious of it. And I think so that was a subliminal change that came. Otherwise, what I've learned from the girls in general, or like it's beautiful. Like I think it's beautiful that all 4 of us are so different from each other, yet we can be friends, yet we can
Right.
coexist and be good friends. Like, you know, we're not just friends for the sake of it, kind of a thing. So and all of us are very different from each other, yet there's
Right.
something that is, which is exactly like the show as well. All the 4
Yeah.
characters, if you see, are very different and
True. Very
at
different. Yeah.
different phases in their lives. But at the same time, there's this one friendship that holds them together. And I think that's true for us even in our real lives.
Okay. And what are you currently doing? Sitting at home, quarantine. What? How are you coping up with it?
You know, surprisingly very well. I'm quite enjoying the quarantine period. So I'm actually pretty. I think as actors in general, we are used to self isolation because, you know,
Yeah.
between 2
Yeah.
projects,
Of course.
you have time where you have to kind of maintain your sanity and stuff. And at the same time, I feel that as actors, because when you're on a set, there's so much going on around you. And
Yeah.
which has to go on, right? Because everybody's
Yeah.
doing their work. So there's so much going on. There's so much noise. So, you know, anyway, an actor tends to kind of center themselves and learn to self-isolate. It's almost survival. It's almost a survival technique. So I think that that way we're used to it. And for me personally, I kind of needed this time because
Okay.
I've been having a lot of hectic.
Yeah.
I've been going from
Exactly.
one project to another and stuff, and yeah, I just didn't realize that it would be such a long period of rest I'd get.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. So a fan here named Shraddha is asking, please talk about your next projects. We want to see more of you.
thank you, Shraddha. But you know, everything now is just up in the air. Like we don't
Yeah.
know what's happening. I was supposed to start a project in the first week of April, but
Okay.
that's not happening anytime
Yeah.
soon. And because, you know, when you plan something, like when you plan a shoot, there's just so much that goes on into it, right? You have to book the
Yeah.
location, the studio, then the
Mm.
equipment, and so many other things. So it doesn't make sense to start planning right now. And so everybody's right, like everything is up in the air. Nobody knows what's going to
Yeah.
happen. So everybody's just waiting to hear some news about the lockdown and if it's going to be like lifted soon or is it going to get extended. Nobody knows. So everybody's just waiting with bated breath.
Okay. Also, a fan here called Shikha is asking, how was your time shooting for FOMO shots too? Because it was not in India, and how was the schedule and everything?
Oh, it was great. We had a ball, and so we have 2 locations, two outdoor locations.
Yeah.
One is Turkey and one is Udaipur. Turkey was a little hectic
Okay.
because we didn't get any time, practically any time to kind of hang post the shoot.
Yeah.
Of course, Kirti and I did go for a trip after that.
Okay.
We went from Istanbul, we went to Bodrum. But other than that, Udaipur trip was amazing. Our Udaipur shoot schedule was amazing because I think the property we were staying at was amazing, and we were all
Yeah.
staying very close to each other. Like our rooms were very close to each other, so we would just like hop over to each other's rooms,
Okay.
and we were chilling, hanging out every night post shoot. So that was more fun.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone called Manas here is asking, favorite co-star from TVF.
Oh, that's a tricky one. Because you know, TVF people are like my friends, so they're
Yeah.
all actually friends of mine. But I think Jeetu, Naveen, Bisht, Nidhi Bisht, yeah, Nidhi Singh, yeah. So we,
And you worked with Jeetu in Shubh Mangal. So how was that?
yeah, yeah. That was great. So Jeetu and I are friends, like
Yeah.
obviously, but we've only done, we were in pictures, we had like one scene together
Yeah.
where we had no interaction as the characters, and that's it. And then we were doing this Shubh Mangal. So I was really and Shubh Mangal initially, because we didn't know other people in the cast. Um,
Yeah.
so I would, so Jeetu and I would be hanging out together, and I would keep joking with him, saying that, we're either by the end of the film, we're either going to fall in love with each other, or we're going to hate each other, because we were spending so much time with each other.
Much time.
But of course,
Okay.
then, like, when we got to know the rest of the cast and crew, we were all hanging out together.
Okay, that's great. Also, Manvi, if I ask you, of course, we're not going through a very pleasant time these days due to the lockdown and everything. How do
Sure.
you keep yourself positive and going every day?
So, I did have this bit of a meltdown, I think 2 or 3 days into the lockdown.
Okay.
But that was because of all the negative news that was coming in. That was the time with the whole migrant workers problem was happening.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw one video of Barkha Dutt's, and I just started like crying, and I like was spiraling out of control, and I called up Golu, in fact. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, so I called him up, and I was like, I don't know what's happening, and I'm crying, and he was like, okay, calm down, and then
Yeah.
he's like, okay, wait, I'll send you some positive stories. I said, I had only been reading negative news, and there was a sense of helplessness, and he started sending me positive news and all these links to different NGOs that are working for the relief of the migrant
Yeah.
workers and daily wage laborers. So I think one thing would be to just knowing when to step away from social media, because
Yeah.
the tendency is to kind of read and keep
I
reading to
know.
know what's happening, good, bad, everything. So just to it's important to read and know what's going on,
Yeah.
but to kind of have some sort of rationing of that, and that only you can decide for yourself,
True.
because you need to know what what works for you.
Yeah. That's for sure.
I think household chores have been a great
Yeah.
survival technique,
I know.
because they keep you busy, they keep you engaged, you have something to do, there's some activity. Otherwise, if it were up to me, I would just be lazing around the whole time. So you have to do it because nobody else is going to do it for
I
you.
know.
So that is a good thing. And I think it's just we should see it as the gift of time, and kind of
Yeah.
learn to use that for ourselves, for our own peace, for self-care. I'm taking a lot of care of my skin and all of
Okay.
that, which
That's great.
I wouldn't do otherwise. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think we should use this time instead of mm, like complaining, and it's okay if you're not productive. That's completely
Yeah.
fine. If you just want to lie down and do nothing, that's completely okay too, I feel.
Okay. Also, now that everything's shut and we are completely dependent on the web space,
Yeah.
do you think it will be, of course, more beneficial for the show also, because now more people will be watching it because there's no other way that cinemas are shut.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in general right now, because of the lockdown, um, digital content consumption is probably at its
Yeah,
highest.
highest.
I have people like my cousins and relatives who don't watch too much web content. They are calling me and asking me, "अच्छा, tell us some अच्छी movies ना, कौन सी movies देख सकते हैं, या कौन सी series कोई अच्छी बताओ on
Okay.
Amazon, Netflix, and also." So yeah, that's I think like people are moving. They have no option because
Yeah.
films are as in theaters are shut. TV pe they're rerunning the shows. So yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's definitely gonna get more eyeballs for
More.
sure.
True. Okay. So Kriti here is asking, ma'am, you are my favorite character for 4 more shots, please. Who is yours? Okay.
Oh, so I think for me personally, it's different characters in different times.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes I love Damini's character. I do relate to Damini's character the most. As
Okay.
Maanvi, I relate to Damini's character the most. So there are scenes where I love Damini. There are scenes where I love Anjana. There are scenes where I love Umang. And then, of course, there are scenes where I love Siddhi. So I think, and again, that's the beauty of the writing of the show, that even if you don't connect to one, in fact, mostly you won't connect to one particular character, but
True.
you'll connect
In
to different characters on
Yeah.
different days. You know,
True.
some days you'll feel
Yeah.
like a Siddhi, some days you'll feel like
True.
a Umang, and you know, then like so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Okay. Nabil here is asking, Manvi, please suggest your underrated show to watch. Okay, a show that you think is underrated.
A show that I think is underrated, I think would be Good Vibes. All
Okay.
the other shows are well rated.
Yeah, well rated.
Good
True.
Vibes, it's a show on Sony Live, and I think that would be pretty. I honestly really like that show, but somehow it didn't really pick up too much.
Okay. I'm sure a lot of people are now going to watch it. I also see a lot of fans here. So tell me something, during this quarantine period, you are at home, everyone's at home. Do you get more time to interact with everyone? Because they have so many
Yeah,
questions for you.
yeah. I have like during this quarantine, I think was the first time I went through my DMs. You know, where I was like, "Acha, chalo, let me just see,"
Yeah.
like, you know, because I
Yeah.
hadn't ever done that, or maybe I'll do it once in 2 months or something. So I started doing that, and it's lovely. Like
Yeah.
and you know, you respond to them, you chat with them on Twitter. I've become very active on all social social media platforms.
That's
So
great.
yeah, because there's nothing else to do. So yeah, you end up interacting a lot, and it's fun. It's great fun.
Okay. So the person who asked about the underrated show, Nabil, is saying, Good Vibes, I've already watched it. It's awesome. Okay, so
Oh
he's
shit,
already
sorry. Yeah.
That's right. So Manas, you're saying your lives give me life during quarantine. Thank you so much. I think you should come
Yay.
live more often.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. So Manvi, lastly, I want you to, say something to all your fans who are watching this, because they want a hi from you and they want you to say something to them.
Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. And what can I say? So just during this period, just use this time for yourself. Use this time because you know you don't like, right. We've actually been given the gift of time, and all those complaints, all those things that we felt we don't have time for, and we always felt rushed or whatever. So this is taking care of all of that. In a way, it's a great leveler, and I think we should utilize it for our own growth and the people around us in our immediate circle, your friends and family. If you feel, please, like, you know, keep your communication going. Talk to your friends, talk to your family. I have somehow been connecting with my old friends, people I haven't talked to in
Okay,
so long.
that's nice.
Suddenly I'm picking up the phone and talking to
Yeah.
them, and we're having real conversations, you know, like we're usually, in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine that usually when we hang out,
Yeah.
we'll sit together and we'll turn on something on like
Yeah.
on TV to
On
watch, or
TV.
we listen to music or
Yeah.
something. But now we're talking, we're actually sharing things, and we're all in the same boat. You know, we're all in
Yeah.
the same boat, which is actually a very beautiful thing, that this is the first time the whole human race in the whole world has kind of come together and is fighting this. So yeah, so just continue being self growth oriented, and be kind, be empathetic, and we'll get out of this stronger and better.
Okay. Thank you so much, Manvi, for going live with us.
Thank
All the
you.
very best for
Thank
FOMO shows
you.
too. I'm sure it will do
Thank you
great.
so much.
Yeah.
Yes,
Bye
April
bye.
17th, Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Everyone's
Bye. See
going to
you.
watch
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.